How does a voice that once lifted millions of hearts get silenced in an instant? Brett James, the Grammy-winning songwriter behind some of the most unforgettable country anthems, was taken far too soon in a devastating plane crash in North Carolina. He was just 57. Fans are left stunned, artists are mourning, and the entire music world is asking the same haunting question. How could a life so full of melody end in such sudden silence? The crash happened on Thursday, September 18th, in Franklin, North Carolina, near Yatla Valley Elementary School. The plane, a Cirrus SR-22T, went down around 3 p.m. with 3 people on board. Tragically, there were no survivors. The FAA confirmed the crash and announced an investigation alongside the National Transportation Safety Board. For a moment, fear swept through the community as the crash site sat dangerously close to the school. Parents braced for the worst until the sheriff's office assured them that every student and staff member was safe. The relief in that announcement couldn't soften the blow of what the music world had just lost. The news of Brett James's passing sent shockwaves through Nashville almost instantly. Within hours, tributes began flooding in from some of the biggest names in country music. The Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame, where Brett was proudly inducted in 2020, released a heartfelt statement honoring the man they called a true poet of the genre. The American Society of Composers, Authors and Publishers, better known as ASCAP, also shared their grief, remembering him as not only a trusted collaborator, but a fierce advocate for songwriters everywhere. But it wasn't just organizations. Fellow artists, fans, and even casual listeners filled social media with memories tied to his songs. Some recalled how Jesus Take the Wheel carried them through their darkest moments, while others spoke of singing along to Kenny Chesney's When the Sun Goes Down at summer concerts, never realizing the man behind the words. One thing was clear. Brett James wasn't just a songwriter. He was the invisible heartbeat of countless lives. Brett James wasn't always destined for Nashville. Born in Columbia, Missouri in 1968, he actually started out on a completely different path: medicine. He studied to become a doctor. But somewhere between the textbooks and late-night shifts, his true passion kept calling him back: music. Eventually, he made the bold choice to walk away from the safety of a medical career to chase a dream that offered no guarantees. That leap of faith led him to Arista Nashville's Career Records label, where he released his debut solo album in 1995. But while his voice carried weight, it was his pen that turned out to be his superpower. Brett quickly discovered he had a gift for crafting songs that didn't just entertain. They connected, deeply and personally, with the people who heard them. This was the turning point. From aspiring doctor to hit-making songwriter, Brett James carved out a new identity that would forever change country music. Once Brett James found his stride as a songwriter, there was no turning back. His catalog became a treasure chest of modern country classics, and his name started showing up in the credits of some of the biggest hits of the 2000s and beyond. Carrie Underwood's breakthrough anthem, Jesus Take the Wheel, that was Brett. The fiery cowboy Casanova, he's again. Kenny Chesney's summertime staples like When the Sun Goes Down, Out Last Night, and Keg in the Closet. All stamped with Brett's signature storytelling, and it didn't stop there. Jason Aldean's The Truth, Rascal Flatts, Summer Nights, and Dierks Bentley's emotional I Hold On were all born from his pen. Two-time Country Songwriter of the Year, Grammy winner, and the quiet force behind stadium sing-alongs, Brett James built a career most only dream of. His ability to slip into another artist's voice, capture their emotions, and turn it into a hit made him one of Nashville's most trusted collaborators. But his success wasn't just about numbers on the charts. It was about the way his words became memories in people's lives. And soon, Nashville began to realize that Brett James wasn't just writing hits. He was shaping the very sound of a generation. In Nashville, Brett James wasn't just another songwriter. He was the songwriter other writers looked up to. His peers often said that if you wanted a song with both heart and hooks, Brett was the man to call. He had that rare ability to make lyrics feel both intimate and universal, the kind of songs you could cry to alone or belt out with thousands in a stadium. Over the years, his consistency became legendary. In an industry where even one hit can define a career, Brett delivered again and again, helping to shape the golden era of 2000s and 2010s country music. Behind the scenes, he was known as humble, collaborative, and fiercely loyal to the craft. While others chased the spotlight, Brett poured his energy into elevating the voices of the stars he worked with, giving them the words that would carry their careers forward. For Nashville, losing Brett James feels like losing a piece of its soul. His pen was the pulse of countless hits, and his legacy is written not only in the songs he gave the world, but in the countless writers and artists he inspired along the way. The tributes pouring in after Brett James' passing weren't just formal statements. They were deeply personal reflections that showed how much he meant to the artists he worked with. Dierks Bentley, for example, shared a heartbreaking memory on Instagram about writing "I Hold On" with Brett. He revealed that the song was inspired by his late father, and that Brett immediately understood the weight of the idea. Bentley admitted it changed his life, saying their friendship and that single writing session became a defining moment in his career. Other artists echoed similar feelings. They described Brett as someone who didn't just write songs. He listened, he connected, and he brought out the stories people were sometimes too afraid to tell on their own. To many, he was more than a collaborator. He was a mentor, a confidant, and a creative partner who made everyone around him better. Fans also joined in, sharing memories of the first time they heard Jesus, "Take the Wheel," or how "When the Sun Goes Down" became the soundtrack of their summers. These tributes painted a picture of a man who wasn't just respected, he was beloved, both inside and outside the music industry. In the weeks leading up to the crash, Brett James' life seemed full of love and simple joys. One of his last social media posts captured a group photo on a sunny deck, surrounded by family, all smiles. He captioned it with just 4 words: "Such an amazing Father's Day." It was a glimpse into the side of Brett that fans rarely saw, the devoted dad who cherished time with his children. Beyond the spotlight and the industry accolades, Brett was a father first. He shared adult children with his ex-wife, Sandra Cornelius Little, and friends often said his family was his anchor through the whirlwind of music and fame. That final photo, brimming with laughter and warmth, now feels like a bittersweet reminder of a life well lived, but cut tragically short. For many, the image stands as his last message to the world: gratitude, love, and family above all else. Brett James's story is one of dreams, risks, and songs that became the soundtrack to millions of lives. From walking away from medicine to chasing music in Nashville, to penning some of the most unforgettable country anthems of the last 3 decades, his journey was nothing short of extraordinary, and yet, it ended in the most sudden and heartbreaking way, in the quiet of a North Carolina field. But here's the thing about Brett James. His voice was never just his own. It lived in the melodies sung by Carrie Underwood, Chesney, Rascal Flatts, and countless others. It lived in the fans who clung to his words during breakups, weddings, and long summer nights. Even in his absence, his songs remain alive, carrying his spirit into the future. Perhaps the greatest irony is that Brett wrote so many songs about faith, love, and holding on, and that's exactly what his music asks us to do now. To hold on to the words, to the memories, and to the feelings only his songs could create. Because even though his life was cut short, his legacy is timeless. So now we ask you, which Brett James song has stayed with you the most? Share your memories in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories celebrating the lives and legacies of the artists who shaped our world.